Finally, the Dynasty Warriors Origin demo is available on Steam, and I have got my hands on it, and I have so much to tell you guys and talk to you guys about in today's video. As you know, I want to start off by saying I'm a huge Dynasty Warriors fan. However, I'm not afraid to give criticism when criticism is due, and I hated Dynasty Warriors 9. Well, can Origins change that? I'm going to tell it all in this video right here. Let's go ahead and jump into the demo impression. Now let's start with a basic backstory about what this game is exactly. Basically, the story begins with a martial artist suffering from amnesia traveling through the devastated land. This is a closer look at the Three Kingdoms era before the Three Kingdoms era actually began, and you get to focus on those beginning and those foundations areas of the Dynasty Warriors / Three Kingdoms story. Right away, I want to say the character designs all look amazing. They are some of our favorite and familiar heroes that we've come to know and love throughout the history of the Dynasty Warriors franchise, and they all look pretty good to me. I like Cao Cao rocking a younger look. I like the way Liu Bei looks. Zhang Fei's looking a little bit younger, which fits this game's premise because this is taking place before the actual Three Kingdoms era truly began. Now I want to start with some pros at the beginning of this video and then give some cons at the end of the video. First pro I want to say right away are the graphics. I really enjoy the way that the character model looks. I love the backgrounds, and you know what? Everything is just popping and everything just looks nice to me. This is probably one of Koei's best looking games to date. So I got to give them a check and a pass when it comes to graphics and character designs in this game. I also like the presentation so far. Everything is very organized, all the way from you answering the questions that the characters may ask you from the way that you want to ask to the way that the battles begin. There's this council presentation at the beginning of the battle that you sort of have. I don't know if this is going to be at the beginning of every battle, but I really love the way that the characters round table go over what's happening in this mission, and then everyone goes to carry out their mission. It truly reminds me of the Dynasty Warriors of old, and this is the evolved system that I've always wanted to see, that pre-battle layout. I've always wanted to see that. If you're a Dynasty Warriors head, you would always look at the units, you would always look at your battle, and you would look at what you're about to get into. I really love the way that the characters met at the table and broke down the Battle of Sishui Gate. Now in this demo, you can only play Sishui Gate, which is against Dong Zhuo's forces, that features Hua Zhang and maybe a certain other person you will see at the end of this video. Now jumping into our main character's customization. It's really cool as this character can use a plethora of different weapons and layouts according to your playstyle. So you'll have to go through the different options. There's different buffs, there's different gems that you can equip as well. Seeing as how our Wanderer is the only character that we can play with, I'm glad that they at least put an effort into the amount of customization options and different mechanics and layouts that you can bring to the battle according to your playstyle. Now also, one feature that I like that they added was showing you a little preview of the moves that you can add in this wheel. This wheel is a new feature in Dynasty Warriors Origin where you can perform certain bravery attacks with certain buttons and assign them to different buttons. This makes the combat system a lot deeper and has a lot more depth, and I'll get into how these things work on the battlefield and if I really like the change or not. Now, one of the big elephants in the room when it comes to Dynasty Warriors Origin is of course the legacy characters. Unfortunately, they can only be used as companions in this game, meaning that they will accompany you on this specific battle. As far as their playstyle and playing with them, we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Now let's go ahead and jump into the battle, and boy, there is a lot to dig in here. Now, the amount of options that you have on the screen can be a little bit overwhelming at first. The game tries its best to go ahead and give you a somewhat tutorial of all the basic buttons and basic commands, but it's going to take a few playthroughs, or at least playing for a couple of hours, to really dig in and understand what you're being told. So if there's anything that could have used some work, it definitely could have been the tutorial system, as this is a very fast-paced and high-octane game, and there is a lot going on all at once, especially with the increased amount of characters and soldiers on the screen. Now there's a block, there's a brand new evade, there's also your battle arts that you can use with that right button that I was telling you about, and they consume something called bravery. Bravery increase as you attack. So there's a different amount of ways to be aggressive and defensive in Dynasty Warriors Origin. This is perhaps the most deepest that a Dynasty Warriors game has been when it has came to combat. Now, there's also a feature called Eyes of the Sacred Bird and Tactics. This is where the game kind of goes into slow-mo, and you're just able to assess and slow the game down just for a second to think about the tactics that you want to use and how you would like to proceed. There's different commands you can give your soldiers, like charge, or raining down a volley of arrows, or even surrounding a certain enemy officer or a certain isolated unit. This is all very, very good. It's just, it can be a little overwhelming if you're just used to the simple hack and slash. But I'm going to give that a pro, because Dynasty Warriors critique has always been it's just a button masher, and it still somewhat is at the end of the day. But seeing is how Koei has added so many different options to the combat style, it has made me very excited to really sink my teeth into all that I can do with this game. Now, if there's one aspect of this game that really impressed me, even though I didn't think I would like it, it is that large scale feeling of all the soldiers and all the units on the screen. It was epic riding into battle. And I'm a guy who loves the traditional style of Dynasty Warriors 3 through 5, but it just felt epic riding through a wave of soldiers and just rolling into the battle with you and your crew. I really enjoy that this game is reliant, and it really commends the morale system. The morale system has been something that has been going to the wayside with these later Warriors games, and now in Origins it is here, and it is here in a big way. And honestly, you have to sort of really value it, because it will make or break the trajectory of the battle. So I really enjoy how they put an emphasis back on the morale and working together with you and your team. Now, one con I would have to say is our allies being defeated so easily. I did get a couple of game overs because Yuan Shao kept dying, and when I ran into a certain person, they just decimated my team. So I would hope that the ally AI is a little bit stronger once the full game comes out, but that just might be the nature of Origins, so we'll just have to wait and see on that. But I wasn't too fond of my allies dying so quick. Now, speaking of legacy characters and allies, we're going to talk about playing with actually one of the legacy characters, and to me it sort of feels like a tease. While it is a quick treat from the past and from the history of Dynasty Warriors, it just makes you want to play with that character a little bit more. But the whole thing kind of comes off as a tease because it's so quick. Everything is happening so fast in this game. So when I was playing with that specific character, pretty much I had a time limit to their Muso, and once that was over, I got brought to reality really quickly by coming back to the Wanderer. And the Wanderer is awesome. I love him so far. But if you're looking to play with your favorite character, that will not be in this game, and you're going to have to accept that if you're going to accept Origins. Now, if you loved Dynasty Warriors 4, there was a feature in 4 that featured duels that we all loved. Well, duels are back, and honestly, I like them in the way that they're presented in Origin. It's more of a morale, who can hit more, who can get the bar more to their side, beam struggle, Dragon Ball Z type of thing, where you pretty much beat on each other to sway the bar in either red or blue. And when it's swayed in your favor, you then unleash this assault attack pretty much, and you end the duel. I really like this as it depletes the officer's health bar all the way, and it's just classic. I love the way everyone circles around and watch you guys duke it out. It's a feature that was needed to be brought back, and I'm glad that it is back here in Origin. So my DW4 heads, you guys will appreciate that duels, in my opinion, are pretty awesome. They're not traditional, and the change might not be for everyone, but I enjoyed it a lot. One critique I've had of this series in the last recent years is its difficulty, and boy, difficulty is here on display in Dynasty Warriors Origin. Now, that could be a combination of not knowing what I'm doing / all of the new overwhelming mechanics, but the difficulty was a lot harder and a lot more satisfying in this game. I found myself working for my W's, I found myself working in these duels, working in these battles, and that's exactly what made me fall in love with Dynasty Warriors. Now, still killing 1,000 soldiers at one time, definitely not like the old school from 3 through 5, but it feels satisfying in a different way here in Origins. That is until somebody jumped out of a tower and onto the battlefield.
You how much better I am.
First of all, let's give a shout out to them classic Dynasty Warrior 2 and 3 sound effects. I absolutely love that. But let's talk about this boy Lu Bu. This man is straight up crazy. He was dropping my allies like flies. He was just swatting us away. It took me about 10 to 12 tries to beat this guy. This might be one of the hardest iterations of Lu Bu yet, and I love it. We have wanted a classic challenging Lu Bu back for quite some time. And as you can see on the screen, he handed me my tail.
Hardly worth my time. Behold my power. This can't be. Hardly worth my time. Going down. Hardly worth my time. This can't be. Hardly worth my time. Done already, you snakes. Going down. Hardly worth my time.
Now, eventually I came up with a strat. Once I started understanding the gameplay a little bit more, using the right button and the palm technique, which stuns the enemy for a second, using the dodges, I started to understand the combat system just a little bit more. So I eventually ended up taking out Lu Bu using things like my true Musou attack, using things like my extra techniques and my extra abilities. I finally was able to take him out. So a combination of that could be I just didn't know what I was playing and know what I was doing. So maybe he isn't really that difficult. I don't know. Either way, this guy was fun to fight, and this is the Lu Bu that I love and remember, and I cannot wait to get a taste more of this difficulty. If this is a tease of what's to come in Origins, I am down for it. I mean, look at this on the screen. I love it. So the main takeaways of my impressions of the Origins demo is it a return to form as a Warriors fan? I have to say yes, but in a different way, and in a way that I'm really excited about. This represents, in my opinion, a true evolution of the Dynasty Warriors formula, and while some may still say it's a hack and slash, and some of the mechanics were pretty much thrown at you in shoehorn, you gotta kind of get in there and find it out and figure it out for yourself. There's a lot more depth in here, more depth than there's ever been in a Dynasty Warriors game. Now, once again, the swap characters feel like a tease, allies seem to die really fast, and it can be overwhelming as the demo didn't do that great of a job of explaining the new mechanics. But the awesome graphics, the tight and clean presentation, and the battle and combat being wild and hectic, and the duel system along with the commands you can give to your allies, and your boy Lu Bu is back. Man, I have to say, I think Dynasty Warriors is finally back. I am extremely excited for the game's full release in January. I will have a review probably just as long as this. As a Warriors fan, I am so happy, and I'll be playing this demo for hours and hours to come until January finally hits. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, say it's Lu Bu. That way I know you are a real one. Hit that subscribe button for more Dynasty Warriors content. Thank you for watching this long old demo review. I was just so excited, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.